Although charging with a solar panel is convenient, it seldom charges at a rate in which you would like. Check this out if we can zoom in. We are only getting 52 watts of input. That is completely terrible. Not all is lost with the Bluetti Charger 1. You can now greatly increase the wattage of your charging. No longer do you have to rely solely on solar. You can utilize the alternator from your vehicle to increase the charging wattage and shorten the time. Welcome back to another Jeff Reviews for you. In this video, as you saw, we are looking at the Bluetti Charger 1. It's a really sweet upgrade for those RVs, van lives, or people who want to charge their power banks faster. You know what? Enough talk. Let's get right into this review. I'm excited to showcase the Bluetti Charger 1 with the DC input cable. This, as per the video, retail for right around $250. The idea behind the Charger 1 is to utilize your vehicle's alternator to quick charge your solar or your battery generators. This is a game changer when it comes to quick charging. I should say it's important to note that your battery generator must have an MC4 connector in order for this to work. I'm going to make my connections right here in the studio, and then I'm going to install it into the vehicle. So right now I have my MC4 connector. Remind you, this is what connects to your solar powered connection for your generator. And so they actually have the ports labeled right here on the Charger 1, output plus, output negative, and of course they are labeled that way on the cables themselves. Bluetti included their very own Allen wrench, but if you happen to lose yours, it's okay because it's a standard size. This is 3/32. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna loosen this up right now, put our cables in, and then tighten it down. Now that my MC4 connection is nice and tight, I'm actually gonna hook in the DC cable as well. That's on the other side. Just like with the MC4 connection, the DC input cable is also labeled, and so is the Charger 1. So all you have to do is make sure you line up your positive with your negative. Now let's tighten these ports down. I appreciate that the DC cable is 18 feet long, which means you can almost mount this anywhere in your vehicle. Now, I'm not actually going to be doing an install through the firewall, but when you do your install, you're going to make sure you have to find a port through your firewall. The reason I'm not doing that in this video is because all cars are different, so I'm really just showcasing how to utilize this, how to set it up, and exactly what it does. I do appreciate how Bluetti is thinking about safety, and they have included a fuse right in line, so therefore you can turn this off and turn it on, or if something goes bad, it'll snap all by itself. That is pretty cool. The basic premise behind the install is to have your positive wire connecting to the red terminal and your negative wire connecting to the black terminal of your battery. If we look at my application up close and personal, I do have an extra terminal access point right here, but I already have two different things connected and there's not a whole lot of threads left, so I'm not sure that I want to connect there. And of course, on the negative side, there is not any extra ports to connect to. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to loosen up the terminals and connect right to here. If you look at the installation video from Bluetti, they actually have you disconnecting the red port, connecting that first before the black port, and that's absolutely what you would do if you're installing in a typical installation. Because I'm going to connect right to the terminals, I'm actually going to pull off both terminals to reconnect that way. Since I'm just going to be pulling off the terminals, I'm going to take the black terminal off first, and then I'm going to take the red terminal off. So let's do that now. I have this Klein tool. It's one of those 11-in-1 tools, and this particular part of the tool fits onto the port perfectly. Let's loosen this up. With that loosened up, we're going to take that right off of the terminal. With that wire set aside, we're going to do the exact same thing on the positive. We're going to just loosen that up to pull that off the terminal as well. We have both of the terminals disconnected, and this is also the time that I would take into consideration to cleaning my terminals. Mine look relatively okay right now. There is some sort of stuff I'm going to brush away, but if yours are messy, make sure you clean them up. Since I'm connecting right to the terminal, I'm going to loosen this nut all the way off and take it off completely, and then I'm going to attach the black or the negative cable from the Bluetti DC wire. To give you an idea of what I did here, I just took the cable, connecting it underneath the terminal lock nut right here, and so when I go in to tighten this down, this will all tighten it together. I will have this wire pulled up a little bit so it's not interfering with the battery, but that's exactly what it looks like. I'm going to hook up the red side now, and then when I reconnect all this, I'm actually going to connect the red port first and this port second. So what I'm going to do is I'll keep this one tucked away so it doesn't interfere here. Both wires are loosely connected. We're going to hook up the red terminal first, tighten that down, and then hook up the black terminal. I got this locked into place, push down, I'm going to grab down my tightening tool here and start tightening down the terminal. I do want to make sure this wire is up and out of the way as I tighten it down. Now that is nice and tight, let's do the other side. Locked into place. Same as before, we want to keep this wire up and out of the way. Make sure I don't touch my red terminal when I use my screwdriver here. Just like that, we are locked into place, ready for the next step. Once your Charger 1 is completely installed to your battery, turn on your vehicle and then flip your switch right up to activate the Charger 1 officially. I was excited about the installation part because I like doing that kind of stuff, but this is what I'm most excited about. So we have the Bluetti Charger 1, but guess what? I don't have a Bluetti power bank. This is by All Powers, and I love that Bluetti says they work up to 95% of the different power banks. We are going to test that out here. My power bank did come with an MC4 connection for the DC input, so we're going to hook that up right into the Bluetti, hook this up into our solar power section, and see if we can get that ultra fast charging. I tested my solar panels earlier, and the maximum I was getting was 45 watts. It is an overcast day. There's not a whole lot of great sun coverage. Let's turn the vehicle on to see what our Charger 1 gives us. You may notice that we are only charging at 230 watts of input. And that is something we can actually edit right in the app. Now we're at the time where we want to set up the app. We are charging initially our All Powers unit, but since we are plugged in and powered, this Bluetti will be emitting a Bluetooth signal. So let's add device by clicking the add device button. You can see that it immediately found our charger. Let's click that button. I'm going to hit OK. Now that we are connected, we're going to see that our Charger 1, of course, is currently charging our power station. Let's just click on it to see what it says. It takes a few seconds for the Bluetooth connection to happen. So you can see right now that we are logging in a solid 230 watts. With the app open, we can actually look at what's happening. You can see that our charging voltage is only 27 volts. My All Powers unit has a max voltage of 60, that's 60, and we're only in right around half. So I can actually change that. So if I want to click that little button that says charging voltage, my model is not specifically here. I am actually going to unplug my charger right now because I can't actually proceed without unplugging it. But I'm going to go all the way down here to custom. We're going to click OK. You see how it says 27 volts? My Pro mode is logged right there. I did unplug that, so that should drop down to 0. We're going to change this to, let's just do 35. Even though my max voltage on my all power input can go up to 60, let's just do 35. We're going to click OK. Let's go back to the main screen of the app to see what our Bluetti Charger 1 is now saying. You can already see that it's now coming out 35 volts. Let's plug this back in to let the charging kick back up and see exactly what's happening. On the app, you can automatically see a change of the wattage coming in from the Bluetti Charger 1. It is slowly climbing up. That sort of mirrors what we can see on the All Powers unit as well. You can see we've already passed that 330 just by increasing the voltage, and now we're right there going to be around 300. Now, mind you, I did not put my max in, but that increased our rate of charge. I wanted to increase my wattage of charging, thus decreasing the length of time it takes me to recharge. So what I did is I entered the charging voltage again. I put it in at 40 volts, and as you can see, I'm pulling 400 watts. Now my solar charging on this can handle up to 600 watts, which is more than the Charger 1 can put out, but I do appreciate that flexibility. Now I should say, to caution you, if you don't feel comfortable with this custom editing, make sure you just stick with the standard units that are already pre-programmed, because you can actually damage your unit if you put too many volts in through the charging port as what your charging bank or power bank can handle. One last thing I want to show you. We just shut off the vehicle. The Bluetti is still plugged in. You can see that it still has power to the unit, but it is no longer charging our power station. That's important because you don't want to drain down your battery. This thing only really works when the vehicle is on and that alternator is working. That's a really cool feature to save you your battery on your vehicle. In this video, we are taking a look at the Bluetti Charger 1. The installation to your battery is really quick and easy, and honestly, there are only 2 different ports you're supposed to connect to, but if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can find a mechanic that will help you out, and they do charge by the hour, and every mechanic is different, but it could be an alternative to you installing this yourself, although I did find it was really simple. As far as custom installs go, however, that does take a little bit longer because you have to pull up panels and figure out your location. So yet again, if you don't feel comfortable, make sure you seek out a professional support. I think that this product is awesome, right? I love how it fast charges. It is very convenient for those of you who are RVers, van life, people that just want to make sure you can charge your power bank quickly. This is really a game changer. And it's only made better through the app. You saw how I can customize the amount of volts coming in so I can actually increase the charger as per the specifications of my power bank. That was really cool. Bluetti says that this works up to 95% of the power banks that are out there. I have a non-Bluetti device, and yes, it sure did work. That to me was pretty important as well. Anyway, that was my full review of the Charger 1. If this is something that interests you, I will leave a link down in the description. This is Jeff with Jeff Reviews for You. As always, thanks for stopping by, and I hope you have a great day.